Hey, how you doing? This is John, and welcome to John's Long Box. Today we're going back to the Who's Who. This is Who's Who Update 87, Volume 4. So this is obviously 1987, and this cover is drawn by Todd McFarlane. Look at this. I got to say, when Todd McFarlane's doing his best, it's just can't be touched. When he's inked by other people, I'm not too crazy about. But look at all of this detail. Look at this. This is just great. And again, like I always do, I'm not going to name everybody on the cover like I do with the Marvel Universe because the names are right here. I just can't recall who that is. What a freak. But I love this question over here. Mr. Bones. This is a character that I've always just loved since his introduction in Infinity Incorporated. But let's go. Let's open it up and check out what's going on. As always, I always like to look at the letters page, see if I recognize any of these names. And again, I have Eric Peterson. I have a nephew named Eric Peterson, but I don't think it was him. All right, let's look at all these great names. And let's get, the indicia I always like to look at, even though I know what year it is, 1987. All right, so we got Lois Lane over here, drawn by John Byrne. I don't know about you, but Lois Lane is like the most inconsistently written character in the history of comics. Sometimes you love her, sometimes I hate her. Like the John Byrne, as much as I love the John Byrne run, his interpretation of Lois Lane is one of my least favorite. Being mean, overbearing, and condescending are not quality traits. You could be a powerful, strong woman without being the B word. You know, I don't know. I think other people do better jobs with her than John Byrne. As much as I love John Byrne, The Lords of the Ultra Realm. This is by Pat Broderick over here. I was like borderline obsessed with this series as a kid. I think it came out in like a 12-issue series and then a couple of one-shots. It was like a superhero. It was like a perfect mix between sci-fi, superhero, and fantasy. It really was. It was just awesome. Look at these names though: Krishna, Fallon, Viridium, Contentos. I can't even read that one. Sane, Setora, Irso Sande, Mortanto. So these are like newly made up gods, and it's like a battle of like new mythology. I really liked it. If you know, just for the art alone, it was just awesome. But I think the reason why I liked it is because these names, because I'm just laughing at myself. Because as a little kid, I made up a group of superheroes called the Executioners, and they all wore pointy black hoods. They look like the Ku Klux Klan. I was a stupid kid, and they all had stupid names. Like the guy with the axe was Axo, and the guy with the sword was like Sordo. You know it. So, like, I don't know, these names kind of reminded me of them. It was just, I don't know, but that is just awesome. So there you go. Yeah, Mark, I'm making a comic book you will never see. Well, you might see the Executioners, but, like, not the way I envisioned them as a kid. The Mad Men by Carl Potts and Al Milgrom. This is just like a group of acrobats, like parkour, that just came in and fought the Blue Beetle. I don't know, I kind of liked them, but they were refreshingly like nutty. I think they were created by Steve Ditko originally and just imported into DC when they bought all the Charlton characters. I don't know for sure. I'm sure Bucky 749 would know. He knows a lot. Magpie. This is another John Byrne creation that I just can't stand. So you see, as much as I love John Byrne, I'm not our zealot. Like, I do admit when he makes flaws. I like the concept of a thief magpie, because the magpie, for those of you who don't know, is a bird that will steal shiny objects and litter them up. So she's a jewel thief. But just this design is just terrible. Just terrible. That's like back in the 80s. That's what like the adults thought the punks were into, you know. It's just terrible. The Marine Marauder by Ty Templeton. I don't know much about this character. Adventures of the Outsiders. There you go. I embarrass myself every time I say that, because as much as I love the Outsiders, I see what happened with the Outsiders. I don't know. I was about to say something, and I realized I was going to be wrong. I didn't binge read it. I bought it every month as it came out, but I just don't remember the character. Like there's 3 comics that I just have no recollection of, even though I read them. Firestorm. I don't know why. The Outsiders, and then see how well I can't even remember the other one. Oh, Booster Gold. I don't remember what happened to Booster Gold. Those are the 3 comics. I read them all, collected them all. I think I was just reading too many comics. But I love this design. You know, that's just a great design for an Undersea character. Mentala by Steve Leahy. What is she? She's Legion of Superheroes. She joins later, I guess. I don't know. This is just cool. For me, almost every Steve Leahy drawing is just gold. That is just so cool. Legion Superheroes I love. Metallo, John Byrne. Again, Superman is one of my favorite superheroes, favorite characters. You know, superhero, whatever. I love Superman. I love the idea of Superman. I love the concept of Superman. But I do admit that his rogues gallery is so lame. You know, and this is John Byrne trying to make Metallo not lame. He came the closest to making him not lame. It's a cybernetic organism, a cyborg, powered by kryptonite. So that's actually pretty cool. Pretty cool. Mikaido. Oh, he fought the Question. That's right. He fought the Question. Dennis Cowan and Greg Brooks. Yeah. I that was an important series. I thought that was really, really good. That was my introduction to the Question. And then later on, you know, I started reading the Steve Ditko stuff. And the Steve Ditko stuff, in my opinion, is vastly superior. That was written by Denny O'Neil, drawn by Dennis Cowan, and a few different inkers. But I don't know. I thought they were almost 2 completely different characters. You know, Denny O'Neil is famously left-wing and said he couldn't write a conservative hero, where Steve Ditko, you know, every character, let's be realistic, once he left Spider-Man, all of his characters were basically had the same personality. This is Mind Dancer. Terrible name, terrible costume. This is by Dan Jurgens and Rob Rubens. Fort Booster Gold. Just Booster Gold had some lame villains. What do you want me to say? The Minutemen. It's kind of funny to see them throw it into the DC universe. And, you know, this is Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons. Their creation for the Watchmen. I don't know. I just find it bizarre that they're in a DC. But now, didn't they get folded into DC proper? I just love this drawing. I love the Watchmen. Mr. Bones by Todd McFarlane. You know, that's just his name. He's basically a mutant that Dr. Love twisted the genes and genetically engineered him. So his skin is translucent and he sweats cyanide, so he has like the death touch. And then later on, all of a sudden, they just said that he was the leader of DEO, like or DO, like, you know, like almost like a top spy agency. Does anybody know how he became that? I don't know. I'm sure he assassinated his way in, but he went from villain to like kind of a bad guy. And that was in the Manhunter series, a weird series that I really like. What is this character's name? Mr. 104. Yeah, he fought the Doom Patrol. And he has the ability to like transform into all different elements. Just looks like a madman. That is just like generic superhero costume number 5. You know, I don't like it. I don't dislike it. Mon-El, always liked Mon-El. This is by Chuck Patton and Robert Campagna. Chuck Patton will be coming on my channel soon. I love Chuck Patton. Look at that. Just he looks powerful. He's a Daxamite, right? Yes, he's a Daxamite, which was a colony, a world colonized by Kryptonians, and they, you know, this is just such a DC thing. They evolved like an allergy to lead, so lead is like kryptonite to him. So he's like more powerful than Superman, but more vulnerable. So they threw him into the Phantom Zone until Brainiac came up with a serum that'll protect him from his lead allergy, and he's just one of the bruisers of the Legion of Superheroes. You know, so now whenever he takes his serum, he's Superman without any weakness. Moonbow by Steve Bove and Dick Giordano. Fury of Firestorm. I actually remember Moonbow and Fury of Firestorm after just saying I can't remember anything about it. Anything to make me look foolish. Muse by Martin King and Dennis Janke. Blue Beetle, second series, number 5. I don't know. I love this concept. I love everything about this silly character. Just so cool. Just so cool. You know, a non-powered Joker type villain for the Blue Beetle. Just so cool. What is this? New Atlantis by Arion. This is another series by Art Thibert and Jim Valentino, two just masters. I like the series. I like the series a lot. I'm surprised how much I liked it, considering that I always famously say I didn't like Sword and Sorcery. But I got this because Ariane was tied directly into DC proper. Like, supposedly, for a little while, Power Girl thought she came from New Atlantis, but it was just a trick. And, oh, forget about it. The Olympian Gods, as drawn by George Perez. I love this. I love this. You know, that's not how I picture Zeus, but why not? That's pretty cool. You know, Aphrodite most likely would be, you know, black-haired, or maybe even green and blue since she came from the sea, but just so cool. Just so cool. Look at, and I love like how he does this like MC Escher type. The steps just go all over the place. I don't know. I really love this. He revised all these beings, the Olympian gods, when he redid Wonder Woman. And here's The Outsiders by Jim Aparo. I knew that before I even looked at the name. Jim Aparo pretty much is like my Batman artist. You know, he was drawing Batman when I first started collecting Batman. And he left the Justice League and started his own team. The Atomic Knight, Batman, Black Lightning, Dr. Jace. Look at that. He's the big white eyes. Geo-Force, whom I hated for a long time. And then all of a sudden one day I really embraced him and really started to like him. Halo, Katana, Looker, Metamorpho, and Windfall. Just a good... It was a good, solid, fun comic. It was like, for a while, it was up there with the Teen Titans as one of my favorite comics. And it's funny considering I can't remember any of the villains. But the villains weren't Memorial, but the superheroes were. Overthrow was highlight. What is that sport? Highlight? I could never pronounce it right. That they tried to push that to make that popular back in the 80s, but it never went anywhere. So he throws these like exploding balls at you. He generates them and tosses them at you. Ross Andrew and Joe Rubenstein, another Blue Beetle villain. Paradise Island, George Perez. You know, George Perez, like at this period, he was like in control of all like things Greek mythology. And at this, you know, Marvel had all the Norse mythology with Thor, and DC seemed to have had all the Greek mythology because of Wonder Woman. Parasite, I always thought was a scary villain. Joe Brozowski and Steve Mitchell. Obviously, he this one fights. It says, Firestorm 58. I thought he debuted in Superman. There you go. I'm totally wrong. I thought he was originally a Superman villain, but Firestorm villain. That's cool. I mean, I knew he fought Firestorm, but I thought they imported him into Firestorm. Peacemaker. Another. Was he he wasn't created by Steve Ditko, was he? No, but. You know, he's become kind of like a joke these days, you know, because he's like staunch patriotic and everything. He has to be goofy and funny because